Jury.
Not from the state, Your Honor.
No, Your Honor.
All right. Let's please bring the jurors. Cross-examination for this witness, sir.
Thank you, Your Honor. Simon.
Yes.
Morning.
Morning.
Jonathan Broyhill here met with you the first time, and he listed the reasons why you're requesting assistance. He listed low self-esteem,
Yes.
abandonment issues,
Yes.
bad relationships,
Yes.
sexual identity problems.
Yes.
As you testified, he spoke to you about self-conscious about his weight, his appearance, and
Yes.
his hair.
Mm-hmm.
Told you he was going to turn 30 soon, and he was afraid of being alone.
Yes.
At a later session, Valentine's Day was coming up, and he mentioned that was making him sad.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The initial client information statement he provided to you, he lists mother was physically and sexually abused by her father as,
Yes.
as the family history of
Yes.
sexual abuse. It's only later he reveals
Right.
to you about
His own
an
abuse.
uncle.
Yeah.
And he told you he makes bad choices in relationships.
Yes.
But your first few handwritten notes mentions growing up in dysfunctional family. I think that word is
Yes.
fundamental religious, and it's in quotes here, demon possessed due to being gay.
Yes.
Is he sharing with you the philosophy of the environment that he grew up in about homosexuality?
Yes.
He's not knocking on a door saying, I'm demon possessed.
No.
Okay, I was unclear on that.
Okay, no.
All of this information that you have it comes directly from Mr. Broyhill.
Yes.
That's his
Yes.
self-reporting. Finally, maybe on your fourth visit, did Mr. Broyhill tell you he had a degree in mortuary science?
Yes.
Thank you.
Miss Elliott?
Yes, Your Honor, just briefly. Ms. Simon, I believe in your first visit with Mr. Broyhill, did he tell you why his parents separated?
Let's see. What I have down is mom has an affair with a younger man,
And do you have at what age that happened?
18.
Ms. Simon, Mr. Foss asked you about the demon possessed due to being gay statement. That was, you took that, and I think you have that right after a note on fundamental religious.
Yes.
Can you explain again what you took that to mean?
That he grew up in an environment where being gay meant that you were possessed with demons.
And did you take that to mean as well that that's what his family, that's
That right. That was the
family
yes.
and community?
Yes.
Fawcett. Thank you, ma'am. You may step down. Further evidence for the defense?
You can do that. You want me to do it? Defense rush round.
Thank you. Rebuttal evidence for the state?
There you
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes the evidence portion of this trial. There are still two important stages for us to go through in this matter. Those are the arguments of counsel and my instructions to you on the law. Before we get to that, I'm going to need an opportunity to confer with counsel, particularly about the instructions I'll be giving you on the law after the arguments. And so that's going to take us a bit of time to do. I also expect, or my preference would be, is that the closing arguments be presented to you in a uniform form, namely that we have the arguments of one side and then the arguments of the other. So rather than start that process this afternoon and carry over into tomorrow, what I think the better course of action would be is to go ahead and recess for the day today, allow us to have ample time to confer, and then tomorrow when you return, we will be in a position, I expect, to move directly into the closing arguments of counsel. Counsel, is this? Yes. That's the plan. Ladies and gentlemen, we will go ahead and recess now for the day and ask you to return tomorrow morning at 9:30. While you're on recess, again, it continues to be extremely important you continue to follow all the rules and instructions that I've given you. Don't talk about the case among yourselves or with anyone else. Don't form or express opinions about the outcome. No media or independent investigation. Again, I caution you, there is media coverage of this case, so please be very careful around any form of media, radio, television, internet, anything else, newspaper. And please do not have any conversation or communication with any parties, witnesses, or lawyers. If you'll leave your notepads on your chairs, and we'll gather tomorrow morning at 9:30 in the deliberation room. Everyone else, please remain seated. Thank At the close of all the evidence, are there any matters that we need to take up, Mr. Arbor? Anything?
Respectfully,
the defense re-articulates all of the reasons previously stated on the record for its motions for a mistrial, and would add to that the fact that the court has now received allowed evidence of Sue Simon, the nurse practitioner who was counseling Mr. Broyhill during those few months of 2012, that the testimony of Dr. Hamra would have been corroborative of that testimony, and that the denial of that opportunity to do that presents a violation of his right to a fair trial, and therefore remove under all the reasons previously stated and for the reasons that I've just stated, that there has been a violation of my client's 5th, 6th, and 14th Amendment rights, and respectfully move for mistrial.
Let me just say, with respect to the additional information from witness Sue Simon and how that factors into the analysis that I announced in my ruling previously. Of course, I had not been made aware of that testimony, but in performing a balancing test under Rule 403, I would reach the same conclusion with respect to the, and under Rule 401, the relevancy. But even if relevant, I believe that the Rule 403 balancing test would arrive at the same result. So for the record, I'll make that ruling, but with respect to the motion for mistrial, that motion is denied.
Respectfully then, Your Honor, the defense would state that the reasons that we previously articulated was that the state has not provided any evidence, direct evidence of premeditation and deliberation, or was this a crime committed in the commission during the commission, that the death of Ms. Hahn was not committed during the commission of a felony, that the defendant's actions were not premeditated nor deliberate. This we know from the previous evidence that I've already stated that he was suicidal. The evidence that we've just offered in the defense is supportive of that, particularly not only from the testimony of Sue Simon, but from the testimony of the family members, who would indicate that there were significant issues that were identified by them through their independent observations of our client. And therefore, we would respectfully submit there has been no credible evidence offered to the jury of premeditation or deliberation, or that this act was completed during the commission of a felony. And therefore, we respectfully move, with respect to the indictment involving Ms. Hahn, that the charges of murder in the first degree be dismissed, and that the charge of murder, we would not contest the submission of the charge of murder in the second degree for the jury's consideration. With respect to the charges involving Mr. Hahn, respectfully, for the same reasons that we do not believe that there has been sufficient evidence of attempted murder of Mr. Hahn, but that there would be evidence of an assault on Mr. Hahn. We would concede that. But we would respectfully submit that for the same reasons articulated for Ms. Hahn's matter, that there was no intent to or no plan on the part of Mr. Broyhill to attempt to murder Mr. Hahn on that day, that he was simply acting in response to this event when he was trying to kill himself, and that this unfortunate event occurred in that process. Therefore, we would respectfully move for dismissal of the charge of attempted murder involving Mr. Hahn. Would not, and with respect to the assault, we would respectfully move that the charge of assault with a deadly weapon with the intent to kill, inflicting serious injury, be dismissed. If the court wishes to charge under the theory of assault with a deadly weapon inflicting serious injury, the defense would not object.
All right, those motions are denied.
Thank you, Your Honor. Note our exception.
Yes, sir. All right. Yes, sir.
The state needs to run up to its office to get the materials now for this discussion.
All right. Let us then, we'll be at ease for 10 minutes or so and go back on the record shortly.